Hello, hello. Bum bum be dum bum be dum. That looks gross. That was a weird noise I just made. Oh, we move. We move. Hello, it's me. I was wondering about all these years. Hello, Mrs. Bokori. Welcome, welcome. Welcome to the stream. It's going to be a reading stream. I am reading, as I was requested back quite some time ago. So, yeah. Kian! Hello, hello. Do, 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 do. Shinru, hello. 143 Singman, hi. Hello, hello, everybody. How are we all? How are we all going? You're at a wedding? Focus on the wedding. I'm just gonna read Circe, so like you don't need to think. You're at a restaurant? Enjoy the restaurant. Alright? See, arigato. Arigato. Arigato gozaimashita. Suriname, hey. Hi. You're in Spain right now. Hola. Muy bien. Muy buen. Hey, twin. Hello, Anu. Twin. Dum, dum. Where have you been? Nobody knows me like you do. No, nobody like you do. You're in Nepal. Hello to Nepal. Indonesia. Wow. All different countries. So, yeah. So, for the very few of you that are here right now, the reason why I'm going to be doing reading live is because, first of all, I wouldn't say I enjoy reading. I enjoy reading manga, but that's because it's pictures and action scenes. But yeah, I don't really enjoy reading itself. But I do. I know that there's a plethora of books that I know that I would enjoy. So I really want to read, but I kind of have to force myself to. So I feel like if I do it live, I feel like it gives me a good incentive for me to read. So that's what I'm going to do. Yeah, pretty much. So I'm gonna wait about 2 minutes and then I'm gonna start reading. See, I have no idea what this book is about, but let me read the blurb before I officially read. In the house of Helios, god of the sun, mightiest of the Titans, a daughter is born. Circe is strange, not powerful and terrible like her father, nor gorgeous and mercenary like her mother, but she has a dark power of her own. Witchcraft. When Circe's gift, gift threatens the gods, she is banished to the island of Aya, where she hones her occult craft, casting spells, gathering strange herbs, and taming wild beasts. Yet a woman who stands alone cannot live in peace for long, and among her island's guests is an unexpected visitor, the mortal Od- Odysseus, for whom Circe will risk everything. Circe's tale is a vivid epic of family rivalry, love, and loss. The inextinguishable song of women burning hot and bright in the darkness of a man's world. Interesting. So that's basically the blurb. So then I'm going to be wait, what was so yeah. Let me read this. It's gonna be it seems very interesting. It's about witchcraft. So oh, it's an ugly duckling story that grows powers. Okay, that'll be interesting to read. Yeah, I know there's so many books I know I enjoy, but I don't like reading purely just words. So, yeah, I read books. I don't. I'm trying to get into it, so I'm gonna do it on live. And let's see how much I read. So yeah. Anyway, let's begin, everybody. I'm not really gonna interact with the chat, so I'm purely just gonna read. So you can, if you guys want to chat amongst yourselves. I'm just going to read, and then this was requested to do, so I'm going to start reading. All right, let's go. When I was born, the name for what I was. Wait, whoa, I can't. Okay, I need a. Well, let me. All right, I feel like that's good. Oh gosh, should have worn pants. Sorry. When I was born, the name for what I was did not exist. They called me Nymph, assuming I would be like my mother and aunt and thousand cousins. Least of least of the lesser goddesses, our powers were so modest they could scarcely ensure our eternities. We spoke to fish and nurtured flowers. Coaxed, is it coax or coaxed? Sorry, coax drops from the clouds or salt from the waves. That word, nymph, paced out the length and breadth of our futures. In our language, it means not just goddess, but bride. My mother was one of them, a naiad, guardian of fountains and streams. She caught my father's eye when he came to visit the halls of her own father, Oceanus. Helios and Oceanus were often at each other's tables in those days. They were cousins and equal in age, though they, they did not look it. My father glowed bright as just forged bronze, while Oceanus had been born with rheumy eyes and a white beard on his lap. Yet they were both titans and preferred each other's company to those new squeaking gods upon Olympus who had not seen the making of the world. Oceanus's palace was a great wonder set deep in earth's rock. Its high arched halls were gilded, the stone floors smoothed by centuries of divine feet. Through every room ran the faint sound of Oceanus. I can't. Oh my gosh. Of Oceanus's river, source of the world's fresh waters, so dark you could not tell where it ended and the rock bed began. On its banks grew grass and soft grey flowers, and also the unnumbered children of Oceanus, naiads and nymphs and river gods. Otter sleek, laughing their faces bright against the dusky air, they passed golden goblets among themselves and wrestled, playing games of love. In their midst, outshining all that lily beauty, sat my mother. Her hair was warm brown, each strand so lustrous it seemed lit from within. She would have felt my father's gaze hot as gust from a bonfire. I see her arrange her dress so it drapes just over her shoulders. I see her dab her fingers, glinting in the water. I have seen her do a thousand such tricks a thousand times. My father always fell for them. He believed the world's natural order was to please him. Who is that? My father said to Oceanus. Oceanus had many golden eyed grandchildren from my father already, and was glad to think of more. My daughter, Percy. Is it Perse or Perse? Percy. Percy? Perse. I don't know. I'm going to say Perse, but for Percy would be different. She is yours if you want her. The next day, my father found her by her fountain pool in the upper world. It was a beautiful place, crowded with fat-headed narcissus woven over with oak branches. There was no muck, no slimy frogs, only clean, round stones giving way to the grass. Even my father, who cared nothing for the subtleties of nymph arts, admired it. My mother knew he was coming. Frail she was, but crafty, with a mind like spike-toothed eel. She saw where the path to power lay for such wait, what? This is why I need to read more. She saw where the path to power lay for such as her, and it was not in bastards and riverbank tumbles. When he stood before her, arrayed in his glorious, she laughed. Lie with you? Why should I? My father, of course, might have taken what he wanted, but Helios flattered himself that all women went eager to his bed, slave girls and divinities alike. His altars smoked with the proof offerings from big bellied mothers, and happy by blows. It is marriage, she said to him, or nothing. And if it is marriage, be sure you may have what girls you like in the field, but you will bring none home, for only I will hold sway in your halls. Conditions, constraintment. These were novelties to my father, and gods love nothing more than novelty. A bargain, he said, and gave her a necklace to seal it, one of his own making, strung with beads of rarest amber. Later, when I was born, I gave her a second strand and another for each of my three siblings. I do not know which strand she treasured more, the luminous beads themselves or envy of her sisters when she wore them. I think she would have gone right on collecting them into eternity until they hung from her neck like a yoke on an ox, with the high gods had not stopped her. By then they had learned what the four of us were. You may have other children, they told her, not only with him, but other husbands did not give amber beads. It was the only time I ever saw her weep. At my birth, an aunt, I'll spare you her name because my tale is full of aunts, washed and wrapped me. Another tended to my mother, painting the red back on her lips, brushing her hair with ivory combs. A third went to the door to admit my father. A girl, my mother said to him, wrinkling her nose. But my father did not mind his daughters, who were sweet tempered and golden as the first press of olives. Men and gods paid dearly for the chance to breed from their blood, and my father's treasury was said to rival that of the king of the gods himself. He placed his hand on my head in blessing. She will make a fair match, he said. How fair? My mother wanted to know. This might be consolation if I could be traded for something better. My father considered, fingering the wisp of my hair, examining my eyes and the cut of my cheeks. A prince, I think. A prince? My mother said. You do not mean a mortal? The revulsion was plain on her face. Once I was young, I asked what mortals look like. My father said, you may say they were shaped like us, but only as the worm is shaped like the whale. My mother had been simpler, like savage bags of rotten flesh. Surely she will marry a son of Zeus, my mother insisted. She had already begun imagining herself at feast upon Olympus, sitting at Queen Hera's right hand. No, her hair is streaked like a lynx, and her chin, there is a sharpness to it that is less than pleasing. My mother did not argue further. Like everyone, she knew the stories of Helios's temper when he was crushed. However gold he shines, do not forget his fire. Okay, this is interesting. This is interesting. I'm reading Circe. This is a very interesting book so far. She stood. Her belly was gone. Her waist reknitted. Her cheeks fresh and virgin rosy. All our all our kind gosh, all our kind recovered quickly, but she was faster still. One of the daughters of Oceanus's one of the daughters of Oceanus, who shoot the babies like roe. Come, she said. Let us make a better one. I grew quickly. Gosh, I grew quickly. My infancy was the work of hours, my toddlerhood a few moments behind. An aunt stayed on hoping to curry favor with my mother and named me Hawk, Circe, for my yellow eyes and the strange thin sound of my crying. But when she realized that my mother no more noticed her service than the ground at her feet, she vanished. Mother, I said, aunt is gone. My mother didn't answer. My father had already departed for his chariot in the sky, and she was winding her hair with flowers, preparing to leave through the secret ways of water to join her sisters on the grassy river banks. I might have followed, but then I would have had to sit all day at my aunt's feet while they gossiped of things I did not care for and could not understand. So I stayed. My father's halls were dark and silent. His palace was neighbor to Oceanus's, buried in the earth's rock, and its walls were made of polished obsidian. Why not? They could have been anything in the world: blood red marble from Egypt or balsam from Araby. My father had only to wish it so. But he liked the way the obsidian reflected his lights, the way its sleek ah this is why I need to read more. The way its slick surfaces caught fire as he passed. Of course, he did not consider how black it would be when he was gone. My father has never been able to imagine the world without himself in it. I could do what I liked at those times, light a torch and run to see the dark flames follow me, lie, lie on the smooth earth floor and wear small holes in its surface with my fingers. There were no grubs or worms, though I didn't know to miss them. Nothing lived in those holes except for us. When my father returned at night, the ground rippled, the ground rippled like the flank of a horse, and the holes I had made smoothed themselves over. A moment later, my mother returned, smelling of flowers. She ran to greet him and let her hang from his neck, accepted wine, went to his great silver chair. I followed at his heels, panting. Welcome, father. Father, welcome home. While he drank his wine, he played draughts. No one was allowed to play with him. He placed the stones counted. He placed the stone counters, spun the board, and placed them again. My mother drenched her voice in honey. Will you not come to bed, my love? She turned before him slowly, showing the lushness of her figure as if she were roasting on a spit. Most often he would leave his game then, but sometimes he did not, and those were my favorite times, for my mother would go, slamming the mirror wood door behind her. At my father's feet, the whole world was made of gold. The light came from everywhere at once, his yellow skin, his Laban eyes, the bronze flashing of his hair. His flesh was hot as brazier, brazier, brazier. I don't know. And I pressed as close as he would let me, like a lizard on like a lizard to noonday rocks. My aunt had said that some of the lesser gods could scarcely bear to look at him, but I was his daughter in blood, and I stared at his face so long that when I looked away, it was pressed upon my vision still, glowing from the floors, the shining walls, in, and inlaid tables, even my own skin. What would happen, I said, if a mortal saw you in your fullest glory? He would be burned to ash in a second. What if a mortal saw me? My father smiled. I listened to the draught pieces moving, the familiar rasp of marble against wood. The mortal would count himself fortunate. I would not burn him? Of course not, he said. But my eyes are like yours. No, he said. Look. His gaze fell upon a log at the fireplace's side. It glowed, then flamed, then fell to as ash to the ground. And that is the least of my powers. Can you do as much? All night I stared at these logs. I could not. My sister was born, and my brother soon after that. I cannot say how long it was exactly. Divine days fall like water from a cataract, and I had not learned yet mortal trick of counting them. You, you think my father would have taught us better, for he, after all, knows every sunrise. But even he used to call my brother and sister twins. Certainly, from the moment of my brother's birth, they were entwined like minks. My father blessed them both with one hand. You, he said to my luminous sister Pasiphae, you will marry an eternal son of Zeus. He used his prophecy. He used his prophecy voice, the one he spoke, the one that spoke of future certainties. My mother glowed to hear it, thinking of the robes she would wear to Zeus's feast. And you, he said to my brother, in his regular voice, resonant, clear as summer's morning. Every son reflects upon his mother. My mother was pleased with this and took it as permission to name him. She called him Perseus for herself. The two of them were clever and quickly saw how things stood. They loved to sneer at me behind their ermine paws. Her eyes are yellow as piss. Her voice is screechy as an owl. She is called Hawk, but she should be called Goat for her ugliness. Those were the earliest attempts at Bob, still dull, but day by day they sharpened. I learned to avoid them, and they soon found better sport among the infant naiads and river lords in Oceanus's halls. When my mother went to her sisters, they followed and established dominion over all our Plean cousins, hypnotized like minnows before the pike's mouth. They had 100 tormenting games that they devised. Come, Melia, they coaxed. It is the Olympian fashion to cut off your hair to the nape of your neck. How will we ever catch a husband if you don't let us do it? When Melia saw herself shorn like a hedgehog and cried, they would laugh till the caverns echoed. I left them to it. I preferred my father's quiet halls and spent every second I could at my father's feet. One day, perhaps as a reward, he offered to take me with him to visit his sacred herd of cows. This was a great honor, for it meant I might ride in his golden chariot and see the animals that were the envy of all the gods. 50 pure white heifers that delighted his eyes on his daily path over the earth. I leaned over the chariot's jeweled side, watching in wonder at the earth passing beneath, the rich green of forests, the jagged mountains, and the wide, outflung blue of the ocean. I looked for mortals, but we were too high up to see them. The herd. Oh, hmm? Oh, Exodum, yes. The herd lived on the grassy island of Thrinakia with two of my half sisters as caretakers. When we arrived, these sisters ran at once to my father and hung from his neck, exclaiming, "Oh, oh, my father's beautiful children! They were among the most beautiful, with skin and hair like molten gold. Lampacia and Phaethosa, their names were Radiant and Shining." Okay. And who is this you have brought with you? She must be one of Percy's children. Look at her eyes. Of course, Lampacia. I thought it was Lampacia. Stroked my hair. Darling, your eyes are nothing to worry about. Nothing at all. Your mother is very beautiful, but she has never been strung. My eyes are like yours, I said. How sweet. No, darling. Our ours are bright as fire, and our hair like sun on the water. You're clever to keep yours in a plate, Phaethosa said. The brown streaking does not look so bad then. It is a shame you cannot hide your voice the same way. She could never speak again. That would work, would it not, sister? So it would. They smiled. Shall we go to see the cows? I had never seen a cow before, of any kind, but it did not matter. The animals were so obviously beautiful that I needed no comparison. The coats were pure as lily petals, and their eyes gentle and lashed. The had been gilded. That was my sister's doing, and when they bent to crop the grass, their necks dipped like dancers. In the sunset light, their backs gleamed glossy soft. Oh, I said. May I touch one? No, my father said. Shall we tell you their names? That is Whiteface, and that is Bright Eyes, and that Darling. There is Lovely Girl, and Pretty, and Golden Horn, and Gleaming. There is Darling, and there is. You named Darling already, I said. You said that one was Darling. I pointed to the first cow peacefully chewing. My sisters looked at each other, then at my father, a single golden glance. But he was gazing at his cows in abstract glory. You must be mistaken, they said. This one we just said is Darling, and this one is Starbright, and this one Flashing. And my father said, "What is this? A scab upon Pretty?" Immediately, my sisters were falling over themselves. What scab? Oh, it cannot be. Oh, wicked Pretty, to have hurt yourself. Oh, wicked thing, that hurt you. I leaned close to see. It was a very small scab, smaller than my smallest fingernail, but my father was frowning. "We will fix it by tomorrow." My sisters bobbed their heads. Of course, we are so sorry." We stepped again into the chariot, and my father took up the silver tipped reins. My sisters pressed a last few kisses to his hands. Then the horses leaped, leaped. I can't read well. That's why I'm doing this. Uh, Leaped, swinging through the sky. This is a scary angle, but I'm gonna keep going. The first constellations were already peeping through the dimming light. I remembered how my father had once told me on Earth there were men called astronomers who tasked it to keep track of his rising and setting. They were held in highest esteem among mortals, kept in places as counselors of kings, but sometimes my father lingered over one thing or another and threw their calculations into despair. Then those astronomers were hauled before the kings, they were served and killed as frauds. My father had smiled when he told me. It was what they deserved, he said. Helios, the sun, was bound to no will but his own, and none might say what he would do. "Father," I said that day, "are we late enough to kill astronomers?" "We are," he answered, shaking the jingly reins. The horses surged forward, and the world burned beneath us, the shadows of night smoking from the sea's edge. I did not look. There was a twisting feeling in my chest, like cloth being wrung dry. I was thinking of those astronomers. I, ima- I imagined them, low as worms, sagging and bent. "Please," they cried. On burning knees, it wasn't our fault. The sun itself was late. The sun is never late. The kings answered from their thrones. "It is blasphemy to say so. You must die." And so the axes fell and chopped those pleading men in two. Father, I said, I feel strange. You are hungry, he said. It is past time for the feast. Your sisters should be ashamed of themselves for delaying us. I ate well at dinner, yet feeling lingered. Yet the feeling lingered. I must have had an odd look on my face, for Persis and Pasiphae began to snigger from the couch. Did you swallow a frog? No, I said. This only made them laugh harder, rubbing their draped limbs on each other like snakes polishing their scales. My sister said, and how her father's golden heifers. Beautiful. Persis laughed. She doesn't know. Have you ever heard of anyone so stupid? Never, my sister said. I shouldn't have asked, but I was still drifting in my thoughts, seeing those severed bodies sprawled on marble floors. What don't I know? My sister's perfect mink face. That he fucks them, of course. Apologies for the language, but yeah. Oh, cultural school, yes. Um, that he that he fucks them, of course. That's how he makes new ones. He turns into a bull and size their calves, then cooks the ones that get old. That's why everyone thinks they are immortal. He does not. They howled, pouting at my reddened cheeks. They they sound the sound drew my mother. Wait, the sound drew my mother. She loved my siblings' shapes. We're telling Circe about the cows, my brother told her. She didn't know. My mother's laughter silver as a fountain down its rocks. Stupid Circe. Such were my years then. I'll, I would like to say that all the while I waited to break out, but the truth is, I'm afraid I might have floated on, believing those dull miseries were all there was until the end of days. Damn. That was the first chapter. Should I continue reading or should I do something else? What are your thoughts, everybody? What are your thoughts? Should I continue reading or should I do something else? What should I do? Continue reading? Read on? It's your choice. Continue. Continue. It's mostly a domino, but it's your choice. Do something. One, do something else. Read. Most people want me to read, so okay. I'm going to keep reading. Chapter 2. Alright, here's chapter 2. Word came that one of my uncles was going to be punished. I had never seen him, but I had heard his name over and over in my family's doomy whispers. Prometheus. Long ago, when mankind was still shivering and shrinking in their caves, he had defied the will of Zeus and brought them the gift of fire. From its flames and sprung all the arts of profits of civilization that jealous Zeus had hoped to keep from their hands. For such rebellion, Prometheus had been sent to live in the underworld's deepest pit until a proper torment could be devised. And now Zeus announced the time was come. My other uncles ran to my father's palace, birds flapping, fears spilling from their mouths. They were a motley group, river men with muscles like the trunks of trees, brine-soaked mere gods with crabs hanging from their beards, stringy old-timers with seal meat in their teeth. Most of them were not uncles at all, but some sort of grand cousin. They were titans. They were titans like my father and grandfather, like Prometheus, the remnants of the war among the gods. Those who were not broken or enchained, who made their peace with Zeus' thunderbolts. There had only been titans once, at the dawning of the world. Then my great uncle Cronos had heard a prophecy that his child would one day overthrow him. When his wife Rhea birthed her first babe, he tore it damp from her arms and swallowed it whole. 4 children were born, and he ate them all the same until at last, in desperation, Rhea swallowed a stone and gave it to him to swallow instead. Cronus was deceived, and the rescued baby Zeus was taken to Mount Dicte to be raised in secret. When he was grown, he rose up indeed, plucking the thunderbolt from the sky and forcing poisonous herbs down his father's throat. His brothers and sisters, living in their father's stomach, were vomited forth. They sprang to their brother's side, naming themselves Olympians after the great peak where they set their thrones. The old gods divided themselves. Many threw their strength to Kronos, but my father and grandfather joined Zeus. Some said it was because Helios had always hated Cronus's vaunting pride. Others whispered that his prophetic gift gave him foreknowledge of the outcome of the war. The battles rent the skies. The air itself burned, and gods clawed the flesh from each other's bones. The land was drenched in boiling gouts of blood, so potent that rare flowers sprang up where they fell. Sorry, the way I said that was so bad. At last, Zeus's strength prevailed. He clapped those who had defied him into chains, and the remaining titans he stripped of their powers, bestowing them on his brothers and sisters and the children he had bred. My uncle Nerus, once the mighty ruler of the sea, was now lackey to its new god Poseidon. My uncle Proteus lost his palace, and his wives were taken for bed slaves. Only my father and grandfather suffered no diminishment, no loss of place. The Titans sneered. Were, were they supposed to be grateful? Helios and Oceanus had turned the tide of war. Everyone knew it. Oh my gosh, I'm getting so back from this. Apologies. Zeus should have loaded them with new powers, new appointments, but he was afraid for their strength already matched his own. They looked to my father, waiting for his protest, the flaring of his great fire. But Helios only returned to his halls beneath the earth, far from Zeus's sky-bright gaze. Centuries had passed. The earth's wounds had healed and the peace had held. But grudges of gods are as deathless as their flesh, and on feast nights my uncles gathered close at my father's side. I loved the way they lowered their eyes when they spoke to him, the way they went silent and attentive when he shifted in his seat. The wine bowls emptied and the torches waned. It had been long enough, my uncles whispered. We are strong again. Think what your fire might do if you set it free. You are the greatest of the old blood, greater than no, greater than even than Oceanus, greater than Zeus himself, if only you wish it. My father smiled. But brothers, he said, what talk is this? Is there not smoke and savor for all? This Zeus does not. This Zeus does well enough. Zeus, uh, if he had heard, would have been satisfied. Does anybody else get like that weird feeling whenever your nail goes across here? Does anybody else get that weird feeling? Like, it feels, it gives me like the chills. Anyways, I'll continue. But he could not see what I saw plain on my father's face, those unspoken hanging words. This Zeus does well enough for now. You relate? Yes, 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 yes. My uncles rubbed their hands and smiled back. They went away, bent over their hopes, thinking what they could not wait to do when Titans ruled again. It was my first lesson. Beneath the smooth, familiar face of things is another that waits to tear the world in two. Now my uncles were crowding into my father's halls, eyes rolling in fear. Prometheus' sudden punishment was a sign. They They said that Zeus and his kind were moving against us at last. The Olympians would never be truly happy until they destroyed us utterly. We should stand with Prometheus or no. We should speak against him, to ward off Zeus's thunderstroke from our own heads. I was in my customary place at my father's feet. I lay silent so they would not notice and send me away, but I felt my chest roiling with that overwhelming possibility. The war revived. Our halls blasted wide with thunderbolts. Athena, Zeus's warrior daughter, hunting us down with grey spear, her brother in slaughter, Ares by her side. We would be chained and cast into fiery pits from which there was no escape. My father spoke calm and golden at the center. Come, brothers, if Prometheus is to be punished, it is only because he has earned it. Let us not chase after conspiracy. But my uncles fretted on. The punishment is to be public. It is an insult, a lesson they teach us. Look what happens to titans who do not obey. My father's light had taken on a keen white edge. This is the chastisement, chastisement of a renegade and no more. Prometheus was led astray by his foolish love for mortals. There is no lesson here for a titan. Do you understand? My uncles nodded. On their faces, disappointment braided with relief, no blood for now. The punishment of a god was a rare and terrible thing, and talk ran wild through our halls. Prometheus could not be killed, but there were many hellish torments that could take death's place. Would it be knives or swords or limbs torn off, red hot spikes or wheel of fire? The naiads swooned into each other's laps. The river lords postured face the river lords postured, faces dark with excitement. You cannot know how frightened gods are of pain. There is nothing more foreign to them, and so nothing they ache more deeply to see. On the appointed day, the doors of my father's receiving hall were thrown open. Huge torches carbunkled with jewels glowed from the walls, and by the light gathered nymphs and gods of every variety. The slender dryads flowed out of the forest, and the stony oreads ran down from the crags. My mother was there with her naiad sisters. The horse shouldered with gods crowded inside the fish white sea nymphs and the lords of salt. Even the great titans came. My father, of course, an Oceanus, but also shape shifting Proteus and nurse of the sea. My aunt Celine, who tried to super. Oh. Oh yeah, driving makes you sleepy, no matter who you are. My gosh. Yeah. My aunt Celine, who drives her silver horses across the night sky, and the four winds led by my icy uncle Boreas. 1,000 avid eyes. The only ones missing were Zeus and his Olympians. They disdained our underground gatherings. The word was they had already held their own private session of torment in the clouds. Charge of the punishment had been given to a Fury, one of the infernal goddesses of vengeance who dwell among the dead. My family was in its usual place of preeminence, and I stood at the front of that great throng, my eyes fixed upon the door. Behind me, the naiads and river gods jostled and whispered. I hear they have serpents for hair. No, they have scorpion tails and dripping blood. The doorway was empty. Then at once it was not. Her face was grey and pitiless, as if cut from living rock, and from her back dark wings lifted, jointed like a vulture's. A forked tongue flicked from her lips. On her head snakes writhed, green and thin as worms, weaving living ribbons through her hair. I bring the prisoner. Her voice echoed off the ceiling, roar and baying like a hunting dog calling down its quarry. She strode into the hall. In her right hand was a whip, its tip rasping faintly as it dragged along the floor. In the in her other hand stretched a length of chain, and its ends followed Prometheus. He wore a thick white blindfold and the remnants of a tunic around his waist. His hands were bound and his feet too. Yet he did not stumble. I heard Aunt beside me, whispered that the fetters had been made by the great gods of smiths. Hepha- Hepha- Hephaestus, Hephaestus himself, so not even Zeus could break them. The Fury rose up on her vulture wings and drove the manacles high into the wall. Hold on. Okay. Prometheus dangled from them, his arms drawn taut, his bones showing knobs through the skin. Even I, who knew so little of discomfort, felt the ache of it. My father would say something, I thought, or one of the other gods. Surely they would give him some sort of acknowledgement, a word of kindness. They were his family after all, but Prometheus hung silent and alone. I need to stretch my back for a bit. I've been hunched over for quite some time. I'll give me a second. Okay, hold on. Sorry. Tripod almost fell. Okay, I'm gonna stretch. I'm gonna stretch for a bit. My back hurts. Oh, oh gosh. Okay. Oh, gosh. Oh, okay. Cool dry school. Yes. Oh, God. Okay. Alrighty. Back to the book. Let's continue. The Fury did not bother with a lecture. She was a goddess of torment and understood the eloquence of violence. The sound of the whip was a crack like oaken branches breaking. Prometheus' shoulders jerked and a gash opened in his side long as my arm. All around me, indrawn breaths hissed like water on hot rocks. The Fury lifted her lash again. Crack. A bloodied strip tore from his back. She began to carve in earnest, each blow falling on the next, peeling his flesh away in long lines that crossed and recrossed his skin. The only sound was the snap of the whip and Prometheus's muffled, explosive breaths. The tendons stood out in his neck. Someone pushed at my back, trying for a better view. For better view. The wounds of gods heal fast, but the Fury knew her business was faster. Blow off, blow off the blood. I'm going to turn on the lights. This is having one lamp and it's not like. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. Don't mind that. Don't mind that. Oops. Blankets are waiting on their pleasure. Someone on your feet simping of what on earth? Oh my gosh. Yeah. One by one they drifted off, and after a final lash the Fury followed, for she deserved a feast after such work. The blindfold had slipped from my uncle's face, his eyes were closed and his chin dropped on his chest. His back hung in gilded shreds. Shreds. I had heard my uncle say that Zeus had given him the chance to beg on his knees for lesser punishment. He had refused. I was the only one left. The smell of ichor drenched the air, thick as honey. The rivulets of molten blood were still tracing down his legs. My pulse struck in my veins. Did he know I was there? I took a careful step towards him. His chest rose and fell with a soft, raspy sound. Lord Prometheus? My voice was thin in the echoing room. His head lifted to me. Open his eyes. Open, his eyes were handsome, large and dark and long lashed. His cheeks were smooth and beardless, yet there was something about him that was ancient as my grandfather. I could bring you nectar, I said. His gaze rested on mine. I would thank you for that, he said. His voice was resonant as aged wood. It was the first time I had heard it. He had not cried out once in all his torment. I turned. My breaths came fast as I walked through the corridors to the feasting hall filled with laughing gods. Across the room, the Fury was toasting with an immense goblet embossed with a gorgon's leering face. She had not forbidden anyone to speak to Prometheus, but that was nothing. Her business was offense. I imagined her in feral voice howling out my name. I imagined manacles rattling on my wrist with and the whip striking from the air. But my mind could not imagine no further than that. I had never felt a lash. I did not know the color of my blood. I trembled so much I had to carry the cup in two hands. What would I say if someone stopped me? But the passageway were quiet as I walked back through them. In the great hall, Prometheus was silent in his chains. His eyes had closed again, and his wounds shone in the torchlight. I hesitated. I did not sleep, he said. Will you lift the cup for me? I flushed. Of course he could not hold it himself. I stepped forward so close that I could feel the heat rising from his shoulders. The ground was wet with his fallen blood. I raised the cup to his lips, and he drank. I watched his throat moving gently. His skin was beautiful, the color of polished walnut. It smelled of green moss drenched with rain. You are a daughter of Helios, are you not? He said. When he had finished, I stepped back. Yes, the question stung. If I had been a proper daughter, he would not have had to ask. I would have been a perfect and gleaming beauty and poured straight from my father's source. Thank you for your kindness. I did not know if I was kind. I felt I did not know anything. He spoke carefully, almost tentatively. Yet his treason had been so brazen, my mind struggled with the contradiction. Bold action and bold manner are not the same. Are you hungry? I asked. I could bring you food. I do not think I will ever be hungry again. It was not piteous, as it might have been in a mortal. We gods eat as we sleep, because it is one of life's great pleasures, not because we have to. We may decide one day not to obey our stomachs if we are strong enough. I did not doubt Prometheus was. After all those hours at my father's feet, I had learned to nose our power where it lay. Some of my uncles had less scent than the chairs they sat on, but my grandfather Oceanus smelled deep as rich river mud, and my father like a searing blaze of just fed fire. Prometheus's green moss scent filled the room. I looked down at the empty cup, willing my courage. You aided mortals, I said. That is why you are punished. It is. Will you tell me what is a mortal like? It was a child's question, but he nodded gravely. There is no single answer. They are each different. The only thing they share is death. You know the word? I know it, I said, but I do not understand. No God can. The bodies crumble and pass into earth. The souls turn into cold smoke and fly into the underworld. There, there they eat nothing and drink nothing and feel no warmth. Everything they reach for slips from their grasp. A chill shivered across my skin. How do they bear it? As best they can. The torches were fading and the shadows lapped at us like dark water. Is it true that you refused to beg for pardon, and that you were not caught, but confessed to Zeus freely what you did? It is. Why? His eyes were steady on mine. Perhaps you will tell me. Why would a god do such a thing? I had no answer. It seemed to me madness to invite divine punishment, but I could not say that to him. Not when I stood in his blood. Not every god need to be the same, he said. What I might have said in return, I do not know. A, a distant shout floated up the corridor. It is time for you to go now. Alecto does not like to leave me for long. Her cruelty springs fast as weeds and must any moment be cut again. It was a strange way to put it, for he was the one who would be cut, but I liked it, as if his words were a secret, a thing that looked like a stone, but inside was a seed. I will go then, I said. You will be well. Well enough, he said. What is your name? Circe. Did he smile a little? Perhaps I only flattered myself. I was trembling with all I had done, which was more than I had ever done in my life. I turned and left him, walking through, walking back through those obsidian corridors. In the feasting halls, in the feasting hall, God still drank and laughed and lay across each other's laps. I watched them. I waited for someone to remark on my absence, but no one did, for no one had noticed. Why would they? I was nothing, a stone, one one more nymph child among the thousand thousands. A strange feeling was rising in me, a sort of humming in my chest, like bees at winter's thaw. I walked to my father's treasury, filled with its glittering riches, golden cups shaped like the heads of bulls, necklaces and lapis and amber, silver tripods and quartz chiseled bowls with swan neck handles. My favorite had always been a dagger with an ivory haft carved with a lion's face. A king had given it to my father in hopes of gaining his favor. And did he? I I had once asked my father. No, my father said. I took the dagger in my room. Oh, I took the dagger in my room. The bronze edge shone in the taper's light, and the lion showed her teeth. Beneath lay my palm, soft and unlined. It could bear no skin, no festering wound. It would never wear the faintest print of age. I found that I was not afraid of the pain that would come. It was another terror that gripped me, that the blade would not cut at all, that it would pass through me, like falling into smoke. It did not pass through. My skin leapt apart at the blade's torch, and the pain darted silver and hot as lightning strike. The blood that flowed was red, for I did not have my uncle's powers. The wound seeped for a long time before it began to reknit itself. I sat watching it, and watched, I, and as I watched, I found a new thought in myself. I am embarrassed to tell it, so rudimentary it seems, like an infant's discovery that her hand is her own. But that is what I was then, an infant. Then I, then the thought was this: that all my life I've been murk in depths, but I was not part of that dark water. I was a creature within it. Huh. That's interesting. You know what? I'm gonna stop it for there for now because I'm gonna pretty much end the live stream. So yeah, up to chapter 3. But honestly, this is very interesting. Very interesting. I don't expect this. Hold on. I need to make sure things are being shown. I need a mod. Where did Anu go? Did Anu leave? Because I made her a mod. Wait, I'll make you a mod as well. Um, there you go. Hello everyone. Oh, she's sleeping. Okay. Did she say that she's I'm going to sleep, or like did she just fall asleep? You tired of reading mode? No, I'm getting tired, but like, I'm gonna end the live in like 9 minutes, so I don't wanna keep on reading. Yes, UG. You're saying my name. What's up? What's going on? Probably just fell asleep. Okay. Okay, okay. Hold on, did I? Yeah, do I know Primrose? Yes. They're pretty cool. I enjoy them. You're the mod for now, Fluffix, if you're willing to. But yeah. Spill the skincare routine. Oh, you went here. Okay. So my skincare is basically double cleanser, so cleansing oil and cleansing uh foam thingamajiggy, and then I do vitamin C, and then I put moisturizer or like a face mask, depending on how I'm feeling. Should I watch? You should watch my live or BTB live. BTB is probably more entertaining. You know, kid drama. Literally with them. Of course, I'll do that. There's the people who's. Oh, okay. Yeah. The spoon, yes, this is a spoon. Try score, let's go. Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. I'm in hyping core, I must watch your lights. Oh, that's very nice. Long time no see. Yes, long time no see. Gabo Jago? What is that? What does that mean exactly? I don't know what that means, to be honest. Hair routine. So I comb it forward and then I blow dry it forward and then I blow dry it up and then it just splits naturally like this. So yeah. K drama recommendations. I don't really watch K dramas, but the most recent one I watched was the Midnight Romance and Hug one. I enjoy that. I'm not gonna give you Eggo just for the sake of it. No. Why is Blackpink and Stray Kids? Blackpink, Rose, because Melvin. And Stray Kids Han because he's a whole vibe. My Demon is the best K drama ever. Okay. I really like because this is my first life. I enjoy that one. Favorite K-pop group is From Us Nine. Yeah. It means let's go. It's a Stray Kids fan chat. Ah, okay. Okay, fair enough. Yeah. I wouldn't say I'm a Stray Kids fan since I don't know everything about them, but I do enjoy their music. Plus, two of them from Australia. You know, it's Sydney, so but Australia is still Australia. So yeah. My my skin is weirdly looking nice. It doesn't look this good in real life, I will admit. Because oh yeah, it's five or so moments. Yeah, yeah. Reading really does make you go. Really does make you feel tired. Yeah, I'm probably going to continue reading it. So yeah, Gabo Jaco. Look tired? It's because I am. I just that's the first time I've properly read in a few years. So of course I'd feel tired. So yeah, you can go to sleep if you feel sleepy. This is the first time my chat has told me that you can go to sleep. Like every time before, like I'd say, like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna go to sleep now." Everyone's like, "No, don't go, keep going." But you guys are telling me to go to sleep. That's very kind of you. Thank you. But 5 more minutes, I can handle 5 more minutes. It's fine. Yeah. I don't know if I'm gonna continue doing reading lives, but I enjoyed it. I actually really enjoyed the book. That's the first time I fully enjoyed a book. I enjoyed Wonder, but then like usually most of the time when I was younger, um, what you call it, I was like kind of forced to read for education and stuff, and I so that made me hate it. And because of that, my mom was like, "All right, you gotta start reading. You gotta keep reading." So I was forced to read, but I wasn't properly reading. I was like reading the words, but I was thinking of something else. So I need to read out loud. So yeah, because whenever I read something, after like 5 pages, I realized I didn't fully take in what I was reading. So yeah. What's my favorite song from Promise Nine? It's probably Hush Hush. I really like Hush Hush or Escape Room, Rewind, Attitude, Airplane Mode, the standards. You know. Okay, don't call me baby girl. That's um, I cannot be any less of a baby girl. Right? I'm not baby girl coded at all. But BBG me it stands for baby girl, right? Or could I be wrong? Could that be like Brazilian? No, okay, I'm not gonna make a joke. What do you mean? I'm definitely baby girl coded. What do you mean? Oh, there's a message in Japanese. Hold on, can I translate it? I cannot translate it. I don't know. I can't read it. Well, whatever he said. Did I see the ships? What ships? Okay. I am not baby girl coded. What do you all mean? I am not baby girl. I am Eldrick Abunda. I am Kodras today. So, next live, I am going to be continuing with the whole what you call it, the whole K-pop confessions that you all sent. I still got a lot more to go, and yeah, wow, there's a lot. Oh, where am I up to? Ooh, where? Oh, that. I believe I went up to. Did I go up to 200? I want to just. I need to go through the confessions. They shipped me with Cheon. I'm a Saturn boy. I love Cheon, but I'm a Saturn boy. Sorry. Okay, wait, hold on. I'm just gonna see. Where did I get up to? I thought I need just hold on. I thought I just need to go with my last live and then see which was the last confession I went to. I got up to like 240 something. Hold on. Well, how'd I go? Etsy? Did that? I'm pretty sure I did that. Did that? I did that. Did that. Hmm. Okay. Um. Hold on. Okay, I think I went to 250. Could be completely wrong. No, I think I'm pretty wrong. I'll look it up later. All right, I am going to ship me with idols. Okay, if you ship me with Anu, do not. Me and Anu will never. That's never gonna happen. Please don't do that. So yeah, have I been doing K-pop contests? I've been to God7, Day 6, and Sakai. And all right, I'm going to end the live now. I'm going now. I'm gonna go sleep now. Thank you for joining me in this live. Thank you for listening and enjoying having a conversation in the chat. I appreciate that. So yeah, to end things off, I'll end my MBTI is INFJ. So oh yes, it's a tradition. Every live, I need to dance to magnetic. So this time I want you, like it's magnetic. You, super equilibrium. Ha, ha. Okay, so yep, that's live. Thank you all for enjoying. Here's a hug. Take care of yourselves. All right, take care of yourselves. Appreciate you all for coming, and I'll see you all next time. Bye. Mwah.